What's up, America? Tony from the Real American Outdoors here. In today's episode, we're going to cover the 5 C's of Survival, originally from Dave Canterbury. So what I use for 5 C's of Survival might not be what everyone else uses, depending on the situation. But here I pretty much have some basic items you can use to have those needs covered. So first, we're going to start with the container. So as you can see here, this is a container from Stanley. What you want to make sure for containers, 1, it's stainless steel, and 2, you can cook food, and more importantly, purify water in. So this one is pretty simple. I got it for $15 off Amazon. So it comes with 2 of these little cups in here that you can use to eat food, drink, your purified water. So if you could watch videos from other people on YouTube, they actually cook these in an open fire. You can, grab this in and out. You can make instant coffee, stuff like that. Throw your iodine tablets in or just boil water in this. So most importantly, you're going to want to make sure it's stainless steel for that reason. So this is a very affordable way to check off container off your list. All right, the next C we're going to cover is cordage. So obviously with cordage, you're going to want to make sure that you have some sort of strong cord, not some basic shoelace. So I recommend getting 550 paracord. Not all paracord is made the same way. Obviously with your Dollar Tree stuff, that's not going to be the same as this 550 pounds, length. You want to make sure you give yourself enough. I like carrying 100 feet because you can always cut it down the size. You can never really add more, paracord together unless you tie it together, and then you obviously have a weak point compared to where you want to make sure you have a long enough paracord that you can use for tying things down, putting up your cover, what have you. So you want to make sure you have an adequate amount of 550 paracord. All right, the next C we're going to move on to is cutting tool. So cutting tool, what you want to use is a fixed blade knife. So here I just have this fixed blade knife, kind of more this camp knife style. This is an Ontario Knife Company product. You definitely want a fixed blade knife, the full tang that goes through the handle here. You want to make sure that this is a strong knife, durable knife, and that it's sharp. Obviously with the multi-tools, they have their uses and their purposes, but in terms of a knife as a cutting edge, it's going to be weaker because it's a folding knife. Same thing with your regular pocket knives. So you want to make sure you get a good, strong, sturdy camp fixed blade knife in order to, cut things, skin game if you need to, depending on what you're going to use it for. But you're going to want to make sure it's durable and it's sharp and it's strong. So number 3 is the cutting tool. All right, so the next thing we're going to move on to is cover. So cover can mean a few different things. It could be 1, cover for yourself from the elements. 2, cover as like a shelter, or 3, cover meaning you're going to cover your gear that you have with you. So there's a few different options. So obviously the easiest one I think is to get a tarp. This one's blue. And then one big common misconception is people use the words cover and concealment interchangeably, where they mean 2 separate things. So if you just want cover, you're meaning I'm just going to use this tarp to get out of the elements, right? Obviously blue is not going to necessarily blend in with nature too much. So if you want concealment, you might want to take into account what color your cover is. So if you, in your case where you have your get home bag and you want to be found, you might want a piece of cover that sticks out, as opposed to if you don't want to be found because you're in a dangerous situation and you're trying to get home, you might want to make sure you use something that can provide both cover and concealment, not just cover or concealment. So tarp, great resource for cover. Next we have, this is a Whoopee. As you can see, I kind of having this multi-cam color, but this provides more cover for you, whether to keep you warm, and depending on what kind of, the nicer ones can keep you dry out of the sun. So, and it can also cover you from the ground as well as for a sleeping scenario. So always good to have a Whoopee, very versatile to have in your kit, or just around the house or camping or what have you, laying around. Then lastly, I have some contractor bags. Heavier mills, the better. So this would be, you could make a poncho out of it using your cutting tool. You could also use this to cover items as well. So very versatile in terms of a heavy mill, contractor grade trash bag. Just want to make sure they're big enough. All right, so the last C we're going to talk about is combustion. So combustion obviously relates to fire. So I would say the number one thing you want to have is a nice Bic lighter. These things, are very true, but obviously you can lose your lighting oil in it over time. So obviously I recommend having backups. Matches are good, but obviously they have their flaws, especially if they're not the fancy all-weather matches. So that's why I recommend also having kind of a fire kit. This one kind of has various fire starting, pieces in here. But most importantly, it also has, our ferro rod, right? So, ferro rod can last, the nicer ones last, thousands and thousands of strikes. But obviously, you want to, duplication is key. So I carry usually in my bag a Bic lighter matches and this fire starting kit to kind of cover all my bases. So combustion, fire, very important, not only for cooking, keeping warm, but also, kind of a mental thing, morale booster of just watching and sitting around a campfire as well. Mental state is also very important when we're dealing with these types of scenarios that require these items to be used in practicality. So that is our fifth C, combustion. So to recap, we have our container, which is our Stanley, cooking mug. For our water purification and cooking food. We also have our cordage, our 550 paracord that we can use to tie things down, secure things. And then we have our fixed blade knife, our cutting tool, stronger, durable, sharp. And then we have our various forms of cover, whether it's a heavy mill trash bag, our tarp, and we also have our whoopee right here as well. And then lastly, for combustion, we have our Bic lighter, fire starting kit, and our matches. So this covers the basic 5 C's of survival. Obviously, there's been a lot more added on, which we will cover in later videos down the road. But if you just start with the basic 5 C's, it will cover a lot of your bases. You'll find that, once you master these or realize you need to fill in some gaps with some other things, maybe you want a different style of fixed blade knife or an additional fixed blade knife around the house to, have more specialized job, have more, nicer, bigger, or different sized containers as well. And, different forms of cover and paracord, different lengths, sizes, colors, things like that you will experiment and find out as well. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow us at RealAmericanOutdoors.com and Tourney X for the American Fishing Challenge. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time.